Back on the Corona. So, last video, you saw me getting the engine in. I've just been putting it together this morning, getting some bits and bobs done on it, trying to figure out how the bloody thing goes together. I feel like I took it apart about 4 months ago. It was only just over 2 months ago, but you seem to forget. And yeah, basically just getting it all buttoned up. Gonna get all the suspension on, get all the bags in. Yeah, the place is a bomb site. Everything is absolutely everywhere. But yeah, the front will be all together by the end of the video. Hoping this engine is good. It's supposed to be good, but you never know with an unknown engine. It came from a good guy, so should be all right. Let's get cracking. Got most of the bits and bobs done underneath, all the linkages done, gearbox cradle, slave cylinder, suspension is on. Remember when I said in the last video that it's going to be easier to put the control arms when the engine is in and the subframe is in? Well, that was a lie. And what I had to do was loosen off the subframe, and then I could just get it behind those studs. And it was with great difficulty, I can't lie. So you see the excess thread there sticking out. So in the previous video where I raised these top mounts, I mentioned how I was going to weld the studs in because I wouldn't be able to get them in the subframe once we did the strut top because of the tube that was using was protruding and you wouldn't be able to get it past. Well, turns out they are loose for a reason, and you basically can't get the arm over the studs because the body is in the way. So I had to drop the subframe, shoehorn the arms in, and then get it back in. And then found something even more fun. If I raise this upper control arm now, it fouls the top mount on full drop. And I did say in the last video as well, I'm pretty sure I said it, it should gear. I hope it does. Well, hope didn't get me anywhere because it wasn't clear. And now I've got to modify the upper control arm to clear that. Fun. I'm chewing a cable tie. It is what it is. In hindsight, I should probably have tried the upper control arms before I put everything together. But I didn't, so that's good. Not the end of the world. What I'll do is shim them up, make sure I got those shims in the back, these things. What I spoke about, they adjust the camber. I'll make sure I got those in, bolt it all up, and I should be able to just trim the arm. I should be able to just trim this bit of the arm here. And then I'll put some solid bar around it because where this pressing of the arm goes up like that on this edge here, if I cut that out, that is a weak point. So I just want to put a solid bar around it after I've trimmed it. It should only take a couple of mil. Open that up like that. Clears. Clears. Stick something like that on there, weld it in, push. Like it never happened. Right, so some time has passed and I've run into loads of problems, and it's been quite the nightmare, and I'm pretty sure I just figured it all out. And we got to the situation where it works how we originally planned. I'll show you. So, the main reason we did that strut top raise was so we could shorten this bottom bit here. Now, excuse the tack, that's gonna be changed. But then, it caused more problems elsewhere. So the main reason we raised the top mount there was so we could shorten this bit here and move the bag upwards. So this edge here would sort of like fall into here. Now, that then meant moving the whole assembly upright, and then it would cause us some binding issues. So I've had to cut the edge off of here so the bag can move with the arm. And then I managed to shorten that just. I've got to do some minor adjustments because we've got more room on this side. We've got more room on this side than we do this side. So I need to move this bottom mount over. I've literally just tacked it on, and I just wanted to double check if it was gonna fit, and I didn't actually line it up too cleverly, apparently. Even though it is in the center of that hole, I've got to bring it over that way. You're not finished until you're finished. Never assume. That's what I've done here. And assuming has got me absolutely nowhere, because I spent the day trying to redesign something that I thought I'd already sussed. Anyway, I'll finish up that lower control arm and then weld it in properly, check, have another clearance on the inside, and then we'll be finished. I'm going to do a quick story time about the last, I don't know, 12 hours of nonsense. When we was trying the strutting first hand, right, we obviously didn't have the strut top raise done, so I was using the bag shot strut without this sleeve on, and obviously I accounted for a good like 20-30 mil here in our top mount raise. So if I raise the top mount and then put this on, it would then imitate the same height as the subframe without the strut top raise done already. So then I could continue on with the lower control arms and finish those, and then do the strut top raise, put this on, and then bang it up in there. Jobs are good at. Right, so obviously I didn't have this on, and I know it's only thin, but it's a lot bulkier, therefore I don't know how much bulkier it is. It's probably about 5 to 10 mil bulkier diameter than the actual strut, and that meant when the strut was in there like this, it was like, naturally it's going to move a little bit like this, not loads, but it moves a bit on articulation. So the arm goes up and it does this sort of thing, not as drastic as that, but instantly found out that this was a crucial part of everything, and it was then hitting here, right up top. So naturally it was like bolted on there, bolted on when we didn't have the sleeve on, and it was just articulating on that pivot point there. So when we strut top raised it, obviously this point now goes up here, and then there's a hard edge in there and it can't move. And I look inside there, and there is a spring bucket right on the bottom of the subframe inside, which is fine, we're not using a spring bucket. So I had to Dremel the spring bucket out, right? And then from there, it will then articulate a bit more. And the whole idea of doing the strut top raise was to raise this up, obviously, raise the bag up into the subframe a little bit more, shorten these on the bottom of the lower control arm, so they didn't hang down as far as they want. I wanted to take an inch out of the bottom of the shock mounts, so it would, you know what I mean? Anyway, but then because we brought the strut up, the bag up, the shock mount up, the articulation, say this is the bottom of that subframe, this was already doing this, and that would have been aired out there, right? We've then brought the strut up like this, and now it's hitting here. So then I spent the last couple of hours just trimming the outside of the subframe so it articulates a bit more. finally sorted that out. And all that was because I just assumed it'd be all right. And it is a very tight tolerance up there. So sorted the binding up, managed to lift the strut up, opens up the subframe. It's all clearanced properly. So I'll show you that now. So yeah, shorten those down. Got some washers in there. Had to bring the strut over this way a bit because the caster goes up, and that obviously brings the lower control arm closer to the subframe. So as it's going like that, the bag can rub. So I brought the strut over ever so slightly. So it's not actually centering that hole. See, there's a gap there and there's not a gap there. It's only ever so slightly. It's only ever so slightly, but there is a gap. Here you can see the bit that I cut right here. Now, you can also see a hole I drilled up there that's going to be for the airline. But yeah, this, it was bringing it closer, 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 and then it just disappears into there. Gone. Gone, you can't see it. So, drive height is about there. Loads of clearance in there. We've got clearance up there as well. You can't see that very well, but yeah, it's tight, but there's clearance. And then I was happy with all that. I was like, sweet. I'll, you know, take it all apart, finish welding the bottom of there, put an airline in, weld this seam up here, this one, and then I heard a bang. And I was like, what's that? And something fell on the floor. What was this? It looks like a greasy ball bearing thing. I was like, where did that come from? And I looked here, and the ball joint has exploded, which is less than ideal, because obviously it does go up like this, and it's obviously not loving that angle right there, and it's just popped. It has just popped and blown the ball joint into a million pieces. So yeah, this video started off well, and then just got considerably worse as the day went on. Thought I sorted it, and then something else happens. So I think what I'm gonna have to do, annoyingly, see how that ball joint is just like flat up against there, and it pokes up a little bit. If I can bring that constantly straight and bring the ball joint to like this level, which would mean cutting the arm here, pie cutting it, bringing it straight, I then think I'll have that extra bit of clearance on full drop to not explode a ball joint. Because obviously on full height, it's never gonna get to that max angle that we had on the full drop. Custom cars are great fun. Great fun. The worst thing about that is probably gonna have to take the control arms off to do that. And as we know, the subframe needs to be dropped to get it out and shoehorn it out, because it's a pain in the ass. Also, at the start of this video, I said it'll be running by the end of the video. And then I also smashed the dizzy cap while I was putting the engine in, because it was extremely brittle, can't lie. And I'm a very heavy-handed person. So yeah, this video has gone absolutely terrible. So I don't know how much footage I've filmed, but I think today, for the rest of the day, I'm gonna start putting the rear end together, because I'm bored of that bit. Really bored of that bit. The front end of this car was supposed to be the easy bit. It's been completely the opposite way around. The rear, plain sailing. Front, a bitch. A bitch. Do you know what else is really annoying? Like, really annoying? Look at this. I'm gonna drum off. The liner of this shoe fell off because it's old. So yeah, I'm gonna start pulling it apart on the passenger side, replicating all the modifications we did to everything in here. Do it on the other side, and then I'll think about a solution for the arms. But until that point, this video is gonna be terrible, but you might enjoy my misery. So I'm gonna put it online anyway, because it shows you that project cars aren't just happy days. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.